Senator Conrad, thank you so much for joining us. Let me begin our conversation by asking you, what are the chances that we'll get a fiscal cliff deal by the end of this year?
I think they're reasonably good. Look, all the building blocks are in place. At this point, really, people just have to choose from the options that are available, and it's hugely consequential for the country if we fail. So I remain optimistic.
We heard a lot of dramatic sound bites today. When do we start running out of time and risk going over the cliff? How much time do you need to get an agreement?
Well, realistically, if an agreement were reached in the next several weeks, there would be time to get all of the language put together to have it implemented. So there's still significant time to get this agreement reached.
As you know, House Speaker Boehner was calling on Democrats today to propose specific spending cuts to entitlement programs. Now, we know that the White House is proposing around $300 billion in cuts to Medicare. Is that all the program can take, or are Republicans right in saying there is more room to cut entitlement spending?
Well, look, if they think it should be more than $340 billion or $350 billion, they should propose it. I don't know, this is not a one-way street. This isn't a circumstance in which it's just Democrats that have a responsibility to propose things. Democrats have proposed extending the middle-class tax cuts, and that bill is waiting for House action right now. That passed the Senate on a bipartisan vote. Republicans in the House could take that up and pass it in the next 24 hours.
On the revenue side, we're seeing many companies that are rushing to pay special dividends to get ahead of higher tax rates next year. Is it a foregone conclusion that the tax rates on things like capital gains and dividends that are now 15% are going to go up in 2013?
I think in any final agreement, cap gains and dividend rates are going to have to go up and go up substantially in order to get an agreement.
You know, we have been talking now about the cliff, going over the cliff, avoiding the cliff. But at the end of the day, do you think the American public is really prepared for these deep spending cuts and the magnitude of changes that are going to be coming over the next decade?
Well, frankly, I don't think the spending cuts need to be all that deep. I've told my colleagues on many occasions, if we had 6% more revenue than we currently are forecasting, 6% less spending than we're currently forecasting, that would save $6 trillion and balance the budget over the next 10 years. So there do need to be spending cuts, but they don't need to be all that draconian, truth be told. Remember, you're talking about $340 billion out of Medicare and Medicaid over the next 10 years. We're going to spend $11 trillion over that period, so $340 billion is 3%. We got to put this in perspective.
Well, a lot of economists who put it in perspective say that it's going to be a tough economy for the next decade. Is there anything in this fiscal cliff negotiations that there would be a package for jobs or helping the economy over the next couple of years in the near term?
Well, one would hope so. My own belief is there should be significant investment in roads, bridges, airports, schools, other infrastructure for this country, because we not only have a fiscal deficit, we also have an infrastructure deficit. That would give two advantages. One, it would employ people in this country at a time when there's still unemployment is too high. And number two, it would improve the competitive position of the country. So that's a twofer.
All right, we'll leave it there. Senator Conrad, thank you so much for coming to the program. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Always good to be with you.